Alright, so Starbucks is getting cooked online, deservedly so, and honestly, it actually makes sense. Their delusional CEO came out and said that a $9 coffee is fair. He's completely right. It's like winning the lottery. Yeah, no, you're right. $9 on a coffee is fair and completely normal. Standard price, am I right? In fact, you're actually getting a steal for $9. That's like getting a good gambling win. It's fucking ridiculous.
I've heard so much this year about the K-shaped economy. Fortunes for some Americans very different than for others. Is that not really something that's coming up in your sales?
We're not seeing that in our business. What we're seeing is people, they want to have a special experience. And regardless of what your income level is, in some cases, a $9 experience does feel like you're splurging. And then what that means is we have to make it worthwhile, right? And then in other cases, people believe, well, this is a really affordable premium experience because they're saying like, well, it's less than $10 and I get a really premium experience. So regardless of where you're stationed in those income cohorts, we want to make that experience worth your while. And what we know is what's definitely something that drives that value is to be able to have a great seat, have a great moment of connection with a barista.
It's also nice to see that, the Wall Street Journal is really hitting him with the difficult questions, am I right? It's probably just a puff piece like most companies do, but it's just not fucking journalism, is it? That Regard CEO also said that it's not only fair, but it's an affordable premium experience to buy a coffee. Which, by the way, most people who get Starbucks like to take it out of the shop. Who the fuck sits in a coffee shop and actually drinks it there? Most people, when they get coffee, is to go before work, after work, on a lunch break. It's usually to go. So yeah, this CEO is like fucking out of touch. It's crazy. So here's what he actually said. So essentially, Starbucks CEO Brian Nicole defended the price of the absurd price of his drinks. Saying that spending around $9 on a coffee is not just buying a coffee, but they're also buying the atmosphere, the seating, and the experience. I'm telling you one thing. There is no experience you feel when you buy a coffee. I'm not, I don't buy enough coffee. I think the cafe sort of industry in general is a little bit overpriced. I think if you're going to get a coffee or something or a tea, you're better off just making it at home for like 20p or 20 cents. Rather than spending like, I don't know, in the UK, in London, it's about like £6 for a coffee. At least at Blank Street. According to Brian, even people with different incomes see that they can splurge worth having. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah, so obviously people were not too happy with the response. Social media basically said, they were calling him out, basically saying that he's out of touch, disconnected from reality, and he's a bit clueless. And I fucking agree. Like, this guy is ridiculous. Again, I don't buy enough coffee, so I'm not even affected by this. But $9 for a coffee is like ridiculous. That's so scammy. Reminds me of when they released those limited edition bear cups. I don't know if you guys remember, there was some controversy of like employees buying them before the store opened or something, but they were selling those for like 40 quid. Some genuinely something they made for like 2 quid from China. Not even that, 1 quid from China, okay? And they sell it for 40 because it looks like a bear. It's just plastic. It's literally just plastic. It's so stupid how people kind of like are led to believe that they need to get this. And I know it's like peak consumerism, like Labubu's and Dubai chocolate, but it's just so sad. But yeah, let's be real. $9 for a coffee is not normal, affordable, or something that people should be accepting. The only reason that Starbucks are saying that $9 is fine is because millions of people are still willing to purchase their products. It's the classic story where like, if you want something negative to go away, you just don't give it attention. If you want them to decrease their prices, you stop going to Starbucks. It's just like that. And the reason this brand model kind of works out for Starbucks is because they're such like an established brand now that you're not really buying just a product anymore. You're not really buying just a coffee or a latte. You're buying more like the lifestyle and the brand perception it gives off. If you kind of get what I mean. When you're buying, this overpriced drink, you're not thinking it's like a scam or something. You just think it's part of your like daily routine and stuff like that. And that's another thing. Lots of people nowadays have become so like they've made it part of their daily routine to get a coffee before going into work or something. I'm not one to tell you how to use your money because I don't really have the best use of my money either. But I don't think that constantly going to a coffee shop every morning is really worth it at all. Just have a coffee before you leave the house. It's considerably cheaper. But here's the part which is kind of like making this situation a whole lot worse. Because while customers are being told that you're paying for the experience, right, there's been constant complaints about overworked Starbucks workers and employees, unstaffed stores, overwhelming workloads, chaotic schedules, stuff like that. We've seen loads of unions and strikes against Starbucks in recent years. In a survey I found, around 9 in 10 workers report understaffing. That's crazy. Essentially, a large majority say that the workplace is like unsustainable. So while you're paying for this premium experience, as Starbucks CEO says, you're also kind of forcing these employees to being overworked, rushed, and maybe even underpaid. Obviously, people are going to say, well, you're part of this, like you've signed up to work, so you have to do the job regardless of how busy it gets. But I think people genuinely just don't understand how sort of difficult it gets. I mean, I went to Starbucks once in the past 5 years, and this was a couple months ago in Poland. I remember I ordered a green tea. Not only did it take 15 minutes to get my green tea, but there was 20 people waiting and only 2 baristas. I actually feel so bad because that was only within a 10-minute span. Think of that over 8 hours. That's crazy. So as a result, you end up with this weird contrast where on one side, the CEO is saying it's an experience, it's a luxury experience, you're paying for the experience and it's a treat for you. Whereas on the other side, you have the workers who are saying they're being understaffed, working under pressure and struggling to keep up. And somehow both things are happening at the exact same time. Yeah, this just loops back to the people are way too comfortable with paying prices which are completely unreasonable for such a cheap product. I would love to see their profit margins. It must be a gazillion fucking %. I kid you not, because it's a huge company, they probably make a coffee for max 5 to 20 cents, because they obviously buy in bulk and stuff like that. If they sell the coffee for, I don't know, £7 to £9 or $8, whatever, they must be making so much money on each coffee. It's actually ridiculous. But if customers just said, yeah, I'm not paying for that, then the whole system falls apart instantly. I'm linking back to when Xbox raised their prices for the Game Pass Ultimate. I can't remember, I think it was £23 in England and $30 in the US, and loads of people actually cancelled their subscription. And I'm not saying this is one of the reasons why the Xbox CEO decided to reduce the price, because it probably isn't. Realistically, they probably raised the price, then reduced it, making it seem like they were the heroes in this situation, whereas you're still paying more than you would have originally. I still think it's a good thing though, because I love paying less. But if people just applied this to Starbucks and said, yeah, I'm not paying $9 for a coffee, then their business model wouldn't work. They would have to change something, make it more affordable, hire more staff. I don't know, it's not just anything like that. Somehow Starbucks has convinced people into thinking that if you buy a more expensive product, it's somehow better. If you buy a more expensive product, it's somehow special. And if you buy a more expensive product, it's a normal thing to do every day. It's ridiculous. I swear, if you buy a coffee from any coffee shop, which is overpriced as fuck, like Blank Street or Starbucks, those are the two I can name off head, you need to rethink where the fuck you're spending your money. Please, 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 invest in a coffee machine, or just literally have some instant coffee, guys. It's not that serious. It really ain't that deep. It should not be $8 every day. It shouldn't be part of your routine. If it needs to be part of your routine, just do it before you leave work. I just can't stand how people are so comfortable with paying such a scummy price like this. So yeah, when the CEO says it's some sort of affordable experience, he's not really wrong. From his point of view, he's just saying that people are more willing to pay for it until it changes. Otherwise, nothing else will. But yeah, watching the CEO being completely delusional, thinking that $9 for a coffee is fair, and then going on to defend it on I think it was a podcast or some sort of news interview. Whilst there is clear view of workers being understaffed and overworked, it's honestly one of the clearest examples of how pricing has gone crazy nowadays. And I know loads of companies are going to fall back onto the idea that the cost of living crisis and COVID and possible geopolitical conflict across borders has influence, and it most certainly does have influence. But I'm 1,000,000,000% sure that it has influence on their prices, likely increasing it, but not as much as they say. Do you get what I mean? That let's say it originally costs like this, and then they're saying that, I don't know, the Iran conflict made it cost like this, but in reality it actually costs like that. That is what I think's going on. Maybe I'm a fucking idiot. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, that's about it. See ya.